What's going on, guys? So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. It's our 100k subscriber YouTube special. I know this is well after 100k, but I wasn't expecting the growth to be this quick. I wanted to thank you guys a ton for keeping this community great and showing amazing support thus far. So I wanted to make this video to kind of showcase where I came from, where I'm at now, and what the goals are for the future. I guess we can start from where I started. So how did I get into gaming? I was 4, it was my birthday, and my parents bought me a Nintendo 64. For all you Zoomers out there, it was the goated console. Keep in mind, I'm 29. With the new 64, they bought me Super Mario 64 and Zelda Ocarina of Time. I immediately fell in love with the game, the vibe, the music, ended up getting Majora's Mask as well, which solidified Zelda and gaming as a whole. I have a younger brother, and he would usually just watch me play, so it's like I was always streaming to one person. I always had that one viewer. Shortly after that, the PS2 came out, and it was the new goated console. There were so many iconic games from there, like Devil May Cry. I remember being in love with the series just from Dante's drip. I wanted to look that cool when I grew up. Same with Final Fantasy X and Titus. If you know, you know. Other honorable mentions like Ratchet & Clank, Jak and Daxter, and Tony Hawk's Underground. Because I was a skater emo boy growing up. I used to be cracked at skateboarding, and yes, I can still kick flip and 360 flip. Some things you just never forget. Well, my parents had friends, and those friends have kids. Those kids were like 6 years older than me, and didn't want to hang out with me and my brother because we're the annoying little kids. So what did? They let me play on their PC while they did grown-up kid stuff, and I would stop bugging them. This is when I was introduced to Counter-Strike 1.6. I was probably around 8 years old, but I can feel how competitive this game was. I remember playing the entire time I was there and not even taking a break to use the bathroom. The room was dark, the lights were off. The only thing illuminating the room was the monitor light burning the images into my eye sockets. I needed this game. So I begged my parents until they bought us a PC. Took a couple years, but we did it. I was about 11, and I was playing Counter-Strike for a while, but never knew I could play it super competitively until later. During this time, I was playing RuneScape. Now, RuneScape was popular at school, and everyone was playing, so of course I had to as well. My brother played a bit more than me, and got just enough stats to equip a whip. Here's the thing. The whip is super expensive, and we were broke. So with his birthday coming up, I decided to help him out and get it for him. We had long days and nights of cutting trees and picking flax, which was not optimal for money making, but we didn't know better. So what's the logs and the flax for? Well, we were going to make them into longbows. However, we didn't have the skills to make them, so we needed a friend to craft them for us and give it back. We traded him all of our resources, and of course, he scammed us. I remember both of us crying and hating the game, but we learned a lot of life lessons. Don't trust anyone, ever. And yes, I have trust issues. But we still ended up playing the game, and the most memorable thing from the game I achieved was a fire cape, which increased drip levels. How did I come up with the name Jollz? Well, after playing RuneScape and Counter-Strike 1.6, I started getting really competitive. I'm a pretty competitive person by nature. I played in a few leagues in the game and noticed a lot of the pro players had their aliases as Jordan, Nothing, Gilbert. So the whole alias was their first name, in-game name, and then the last name. Me, being 13 at the time, didn't want to dox myself, so I tried to pick the most obnoxious name possible. Jollygoodman. I remember people sending me hate messages just because they lost to a guy named Jollygoodman. Trolling came naturally for me, so I rolled with the punches. My entire alias was Jollygoodman, Goodman. And boy, did they not like that. After a couple years, the trend died down, and I shortened it to Jollygoodman, and then Jolly for a while. Then I started to get into World of Warcraft, the game that sucks the soul right out of you. Super addicting at the time. I started playing when I was 16 in Burning Crusade, and I started to experiment with other aliases because Jolly was taken. And one thing I started to notice, a lot of high-rated players started to throw a Z at the end of their name for some reason, and I wanted to hop on the trend. So, what a perfect time to bring back my old alias Jolly. However, Jollies didn't really sound too cool. So I kind of dropped the Y and I just went with Jollz. And that is the birth of my name. Throughout the years, I started playing through all the different expansions. I was playing in Wrath of the Lich King, Start of Cataclysm. I remember sprinting home from the bus just so I get home faster so I could play World of Warcraft. I played a mage and a rogue. I was the ultimate rat. I was super into PvP and I loved competing against other people and even hit rank 1 in 2v2s at one point. At that time, World of Warcraft was slowly dying and new games started popping up, League of Legends being one of them. I wasn't a big fan of hopping on newer games because I didn't know if they were gonna die and I didn't want to waste my time. I remember a couple of my friends and my brother even telling me how fun the game is and I should really try it. I finally got convinced. I was a total noob. I've never played a MOBA in my entire life. I didn't even know what I was doing. However, one thing I was good at is learning new things, so I was super excited to play and get good, especially considering how big the game is. The bigger the game, the more the competition, and I love the idea. I was about 18 or 19 years old when I wanted to go pro more than anything. It didn't really matter the game that I was playing. At the time, I thought League of Legends was the best game to do it with. I started late into Season 2 and then ended up getting Diamond 1 in Season 3. This was before Masters and Grandmasters was even a rank, and Challenger only had 50 slots. I was a jungler main, and specifically a Lee Sin one trick. I love the idea of being able to outplay my opponents with mechanics and flashy kicks. And this is when I first started streaming. I thought, why not make an educational League of Legends stream where people can learn how to play Lee Sin and jungle. However, I was streaming to 2 viewers, one being myself when I had my chat open and the other one Nightbot. So while I was doing that, I was also attending college for my first semester. I actually failed all my classes the first semester so I could play League of Legends all day. I was chasing a dream that could not be fulfilled with how I was approaching it. I wanted to be a pro player, but I never reached out to anyone or even tried joining a team because I thought that they would be the ones to reach out to me. I also wanted to be a streamer, but I had no idea how to grow a stream or content in general. I thought streaming all day would make me grow. I was chasing a carrot on a stick. So after the first failed semester in college, I decided to pursue video games. With that semester off, I grinded League with little to no rewards. After playing League for so long, I ended up getting discouraged. I thought maybe I'm just not good enough to play MOBAs. And then CSGO came out. So considering that I've been playing CS 1.6 for so long, I thought CSGO would be the perfect game to switch to. So I started grinding and I hit Global Elite pretty fast. And then I wanted to take it to the next level and I started playing on third-party clients called ESEA. Now at the time, ESEA was the only third-party client that offered any sort of competition like this. So I started joining teams and competing. So how the division ladders worked at the time, starting from the bottom, we have Open, where any team can join. After that, you have Intermediate, or IM. And then after that, you have Main, where the semi-professional players would play. And then after that, you have Invite, where the top pro tier 1 teams would play. They would get paid to play the game. I ended up getting second place in IM, and then I moved up to Main, where I was playing against semi-professionals pretty regularly. So how my days worked is I would wake up, I would stream for 6 to 8 hours, and then after that, I would play with my team for another 3 to 4, which means I was gaming for about 10 to 12 hours with no real break. Now keep in mind, I only had 5 to 10 viewers at the time. I would get lucky to even get 1 to 2 followers a stream.
Oh my goodness.
But I thought once I got pro, well, things are gonna change. Well, that's when things started to take a turn. I developed a condition called RSI, repetitive strain injury. Basically, to sum it up, I played too many video games and it started to affect my health. It hurt my arms to play video games more than 5 minutes, but I didn't want to give up the dream. So I made a bit of a compromise. I gave up playing competitively and then I started to pursue my stream. However, I couldn't even stream games that required me to play on the keyboard and mouse. So what I had to do was swap to a handheld ball mouse and play Hearthstone.
What you get for talking trash. You know what? I rarely ever do this shit, but fuck this guy. If he's gonna threaten me like this, all right, this is what you get. When you talk shit, you get hit. No!
Now, I wasn't bad at the game. I actually hit Legends a few seasons in a row, and I played easy decks like Zulok because I couldn't afford to buy the more expensive cards and play other decks. I also dabbled in variety games that I could play on the controller, like Final Fantasy X, Skyrim, and Dark Souls. And honestly, it was a lot of fun. I actually really liked playing variety at the time. However, it was more than last time. We were averaging about 20 to 30 viewers around this time, which is nice. It was a nice little tight-knit community. After some time, I tried to give FPS games another try, like Overwatch when it was first released. The only problem was that my arms were still in so much pain. Anytime I made any sort of flick motion with my arm, it would hurt all the way through my shoulder. And I thought this was the end to any sort of gaming career. I got super discouraged from streaming and playing games because of the RSI, and the struggle of growth from streaming didn't help. So the only logical explanation was to quit playing video games and start going to the gym. This helped a ton with my RSI and my mental. I highly recommend everyone starts going to the gym. After a couple of years of doing this schedule, I started feeling good again. Good enough to even dust off the old keyboard and mouse and start playing on that again. No more ball and mouse for me. However, the injury was still in the back of my mind and I didn't want to push it by playing too much, so I just focused on being a content creator. I was playing on a content-focused team in CSGO and I was dabbling in PUBG and Fortnite when it was still fresh. I noticed a sudden growth in Fortnite in the early stages, so I was trying everything to farm clips and make it into highlight videos. In my mind, that was the best way to grow. But for some reason, I focused on Twitch being my main platform for discoverability, and this is what stunted my growth for so long, and I didn't even notice it at the time. My clips were sick, but if nobody sees them, did they even really happen? If I stream for 9 hours to 0 people, then did I even really stream? During this time, I got in my own head, and my parents thought I was wasting my time and my life, so I took a break and I went back to school. I thought, you know what, maybe they're right. Maybe I take a break and I go back to school, and I treat school like a video game. I've gotten good at so many video games, why don't I just do the same thing with college? So I started with 4 classes the first semester, and I thought it was a bit too easy and I was wasting my time. I bumped it up to 8 classes the next semester, and then I took 9 after that. I had to get this approved, of course, from the school council because apparently they don't allow you to take too many classes. So during this time, I didn't play any video games whatsoever, and I had 0 social life. And I thought it would look great on my resume if I got a summer internship. It just so happens that NASA's Kennedy Space Center is only an hour drive away from me, and they had 37 positions open for the summer. Well, I applied to all 37 of them. And if I got rejected, it's whatever. I just wanted to see what an interview at NASA would be like. So, to no surprise, 36 of them rejected me. I went to a no-name community college after all. However, one position offered me an interview. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I studied for 2 weeks for this interview, so I came prepared. So I get in a call with the interviewer, and he starts grilling me with questions. Fortunately, I had answered every single one of them. And then, towards the end of the interview, his phone goes off, and it was the Office theme song. Now, me being a TV show connoisseur started talking about The Office, and he's like, yeah, I've seen it like 7-8 times or so. So we have a bit of a back and forth about The Office, and then he says, you better get your number out before the summer. I freak out. Does this mean I get the spot? And he says, just expect an email from us. I couldn't believe it. I freak out. So summer comes quicker than expected. Day 1 of the internship, I greeted all the other interns and we went around the room introducing ourselves. And it started with the guy to my right. So he stands up and he's like, my name's John Smith. I'm working on my PhD in computer engineering at MIT, and then sits down. Immediately, I get imposter syndrome. I don't belong here. What the fuck? So he goes around the room and everyone stands up and lists their credentials, and then it gets to me. I'm the last person. So I stand up and I'm like, my name's Jollz. I go to a clown community college and I'm working on my IT degree. I sit down and someone goes, where even is that? And I was like, perfect. You don't know what to expect. I'm like a wild card, baby. So after sweating my ass off for the entire internship, they offered me a full-time position as a software engineer. And I ended up working there for 2 years. It was great, but I also really missed content creating. So I quit. And with all that free time, I decided to start creating content again. I had 2 viewers on Twitch and about 300 YouTube subscribers from the old days. But this time, I'm going to do it better. Step 1, get radiant. What the fuck? Step 2, offer free coaching and build a community. I made TikToks about it and had a bunch of people interested. Who doesn't want free coaching from a Radiant player? I used to do 10 free coaching sessions a week and people wouldn't even show up. About half of them would ghost me. As the community grew, so did the demand. And here we are today. We have 20 editors, we have 3 managers, we have an agent, and this is only the beginning. We're uploading 2 videos a day on the main channel. We have a regular gaming channel, a vlog channel, a react channel, and one for clips and short form content. So, what are the future plans for the channel? The goal is to collaborate, whether that's playing or coaching, with all the big content creators. Let me know in the comments which content creator you want to see me collaborate with. We are going for World Domination, and I will not stop until I get it. I want to thank you guys for watching this story and supporting this content this far. I have a lot more in store for you guys, and I can't wait to share it. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Other than that, peace. Have a good one.